everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. Does your school have a rivalry with another school? Maybe it's a school that you play every year in a sport. What about you? Do you have someone you consider your rival? Maybe you compete in sports or with your grades. I think everyone seems to have some kind of rival, someone they can't really get along with and compete with in almost everything. So I'm going to say someone's name, and then I want you to tell me who you think their rival is. You think you can handle it? Let's start. Person number 1, Superman. Who do we think Superman's biggest rival is? I'll give you 3 seconds. Boop, boop, boop. Lex Luthor. That's right. Superman and Lex Luthor can't stand each other, always at each other's throats. Let's move on to number 2, Batman. This one might be hard. Batman's made a lot of enemies. He's got a lot of rivals. Is it the Riddler? No, it's Joker. Batman and Joker, classic rivalry. It could have been the Riddler. Number 1 and 2, pretty easy. But number 3, Professor X. We know who Professor X is? Who do we think Professor X's biggest rival is? You're going to get it wrong. Magneto. No, you didn't know that. Magneto is Professor X's biggest rival. Number 4, Sherlock Holmes. This one's getting kind of difficult. If you haven't read Sherlock Holmes, you might not know this. I don't think I know how to pronounce that name. Moriarty. If anybody out there knows how to say that name, let me know. Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. Pretty big rivals. Okay, this next one, if you enjoy Marvel at all, you should get this one. Thor and... who does Thor never get along with? If it were me, I would say Thor and Hulk never really get along until you get kind of later in the movies, but actually Thor and Loki, the 2 brothers, are polar opposites, and therefore they're each other's biggest rival. Slide number 6, he's been in a ton of movies, he's had a ton of enemies. Spider-Man, whatever Spider-Man you want to pick, has this common rival. That would be the Green Goblin. Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. Number 7, I love this family, the Incredibles. The Incredibles had an incredible rivalry with 3, 2, 1. Syndrome. Remember Syndrome with the big spiky red hair? And he had the cape. Capes were a bad idea. No capes. Number 8, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know their rivalry? He looks kind of like a mouse, a rat. Is he a mouse? He's a mouse. He's a rat. Shredder. He's a mouse. Shredder. All right, really great job, everyone, guessing all of those rivals. So some of those were simple, and others not so much. Either way, these heroes and rivals all have something in common. They were always at odds with one another. Movie to movie, episode to episode, they never quite figure out how to fix their relationship. They're both doomed to compete and argue and fight, even if they're related. It's probably not quite the same with us, but have you ever had someone who you just can't get along with? You know you should live at peace with them, but you just can't do it. You thinking of anyone? Yeah, me too. And even though we know better, getting along with others can be extremely difficult. That's why we need help. We can discover the source of that help when we dive into the truth found in the Bible. Remember, the Bible was written by people who had a personal experience with God. And God inspired them to write about it so that people like us, you and me, could learn from it thousands of years later. So let's dive in together. Maybe you've experienced a time when it was easier to build a wall when you should have built a bridge. Why are walls easier? I have a feeling it's because walls make us feel like we can avoid our problems. We think that we can block out what we don't want to see or hear. We can avoid the problem for a little while, but in the end, there's something we don't have. Peace. That's what bridges are for. So let's check out this verse from Paul's letter to the Colossian church. After talking to them about their new life in Christ and what it means to now live as true followers of Jesus, Paul wrote this: "Let peace that Christ gives rule in your hearts. As part of one body, you are appointed to live in peace." Now, this is not a very long verse, but there's so much here for us to learn. First, Paul tells us that peace, the peace that comes from Jesus, was meant to rule in our hearts. We were meant to live in peace. And when we go through conflict and fights with other people, it should feel really unnatural because we weren't made for that. We weren't made to be ruled by bitterness and anger. We were made to be ruled by peace. Now, did anyone hear the metaphor that Paul used to describe this peace in us? A body. Think about your body. You have all these parts that are working together, like when I walk from over here to over there. Do you see just how many body parts were involved in that? So many, like a million. And if one of them was out of sync, what happens? Well, maybe I trip or I go the wrong way or I bump into something. The body works in sync or at peace in order to accomplish a task over and over and over. Paul tells us that we, not just me by myself, but we together were made to live like this, working together in peace with one another. Now, I'm sure we can all think of a time when we built a wall when we should have built a bridge. And the thing is, it probably takes even more energy to build a wall because then we have to keep it up and stay upset and stay guarded against this person that we're upset with. Building a bridge to make peace with someone is tough, but it's not impossible. How do I know? Because Jesus set the example for us. We love because he first loved us. We forgive because he forgave us first. God doesn't ask us to do what he hasn't already done for us. So what if you found a way to build a bridge instead of a wall? What if you were able to live in peace and work together? I think it would be a much different outcome than what you're used to now. So today, I want you to talk about this question. Who do you need to make peace with? In other words, could you find yourself in one of these situations, this rivalry? Do you have any walls up with someone right now? And if so, what would it look like to build a bridge instead? I would like... I know. I'm so sorry. I would like to issue a formal apology. I said that the mouse in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was Shredder, the villain. I have now villainized the mentor, Splinter, of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I am so sorry for that. So if any of you guys are diehard Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans, I'm so sorry. Shredder, I don't know what he is. He's not a mouse, he's not a rat. That's dear Splinter. Please accept my apology. Have a nice day.